Hello, this is Rocket Rick J18, and today we're going to take a look at my last remaining Topps or Bowman um, base sets uh, to complete. And I just want to start from the very premise, the very beginning, the premise that I probably will never complete this set. And the 1952 Topps set is well known. It is, of course, the first major Topps set to compete with Bowman. The cards are in a new format. The Bowman cards up till this time were all relatively small. The Topps set is, the cards are 2 5/8 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches tall. This is sometimes known now as the vintage size, being somewhat larger than the standard baseball card we know today. And I personally like this size. I think it fits nicely in the 8-pocket sheets if you like to put them in binders like I do. And we're going to see that, obviously. There are 407 cards in the set. Cards number 311 through 407 are in the high number series and are the scarcest cards in the set. Card number 311, of course, is the first Topps Mickey Mantle card, sometimes erroneously referred to as his rookie card. Of course, his rookie season was 1951, and Bowman did make a Mickey Mantle card in 1951, so that's his rookie card. It was under the definition of nationally distributed and widely available. There are several subsets in the overall set. Cards numbered 1 through 80 come with either a red background or a black background. All of these are somewhat scarcer than the cards numbered from 81 through 250. With the black backgrounds being slightly more difficult to get than the red background. And let's see, what else can I tell you? Cards number 251 through 310 are a little more difficult to get than cards number 81 through 250, and cards number 281 through 300 were single printed, and so they are more difficult to get. Cards numbered 311, 312, and 313 were double printed, and of course card number 311 is the Mickey Mantle card. 312 is the Roy Campanella card, or 312 is the Jackie Robinson card, and 313 is the Bobby Thompson card. 314 is Roy Campanella, and there is a high number Pee Wee Reese rookie card, Dick Groat card, Gil McDougall, Hoyt Wilhelm, Bill Dickey as a coach, and Eddie Mathews, which is the last card in the set and is the most difficult rookie card to obtain, either in a collector grade because it was the last card in the set, or because it is the most expensive card next to the mantle card. And so that's sort of the background in terms of the statistics, I guess you would say, of the card set itself. The story of how Sy Berger went around and tried to sign up players to contracts, and so began the battle between Topps and Bowman for baseball card supremacy. A battle we know now was won by Topps when Bowman went bankrupt at the end of 1955 and was purchased by Topps for, I believe, $200,000, and probably the best investment move that Topps made since coming out with the massive 407 card initial set. We're going to take a look at some of those cards today. I have 157 cards from the set overall. I do not have any high number series card. I thought I had a Jackie Robinson card, but I don't. And it's obviously a card that I hope to get someday, along with others of the high number set, subset. In the cards numbered 1 through 80, I have most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. And the ones that I don't have, maybe the most important ones are the Monty Irvin card number 26, the Gil Hodges card number 36, the Joe Page card number 48, and the others are primarily commons that I don't have yet. Most of the cards in the subset 1 through 80 that I have black backs because I bought a lot of them, not a lot, but a lot of them, and they happen to be black backs, so that's where most of mine are. Occasionally I do have a red back in that subset. So my initial goal is to collect all the cards numbered 1 through 80. That's a fairly common effort. And then I'm going to move on to cards numbered 81 through 310. I hope that when I see a bargain high number card to pick those up as I go along, but I don't know that I'll ever really get them all. Obviously, I'd have to stumble into a mantle card that was reasonably affordable, and I don't think there are going to be too many of those. So that's the backdrop. Let's go ahead and move the camera around a little bit and take a look at the individual cards that I have to show you. These are the first 8 cards of the 1952 Topps set. You can see that some of these cards are in pretty rough shape. They were ones that I've had for a long time, some that I've gotten recently. And the first card up there in the top left-hand row is Andy Pafko. And this card is often one of the more expensive cards in the set, not because of the intrinsic value of Andy Pafko as a player, but simply because it is the first card in the set. And it kind of goes back to the idea that most of these cards were collected by young people, and the way they collected them, they often organized them in numerical order, with the first card on top, and often gathered together with a rubber band. The rubber band caused some residual damage to the card, and so they're a little harder to find in good condition. So that's Andy Pafko. And Pete Runnels, another player who was a very capable and credible player during his career for the Washington Senators. The next 8 players, there are a couple among them that are worth mentioning specifically. Al Flip Rosen was a great player for the Cleveland Indians. He came very close to winning a Triple Crown one year. I believe it might have been 1953, when he led the American League in home runs and RBIs and came in second to Mickey Vernon for the batting crown, missing out by less than or approximately 5 thousandths of a point. That is to say, you had to, when you round it off to 3 points, they had the same batting average, but Al was about half a point below Mickey, so that was the difference. Next to Al Rosen is, of course, Phil Rizzuto, the Hall of Fame Yankee shortstop. And right underneath him is Johnny Pesky, who was the great American League rival shortstop for the Boston Red Sox, for whom Pesky Pole in the right field corner at Fenway Park was named, due to Johnny's power displays being pretty much confined to balls hit right down the right field line, which was a pretty short distance. The next 8 cards are which are card number 17 through 24. And on this page we have Dominic DiMaggio, the Red Sox center fielder, Luke Easter, who was a power hitter for the Indians. Short story about Luke Easter: at the very beginning of his career, he was so excited going up to the plate that he picked up a fungo bat instead of a regular bat. And when he hit a home run on the first pitch, the umpire called him out for having an illegal bat, and you could tell just by the sound of it. So That's what happens when you get too excited and you don't get the right equipment. Now the next page, there is a card missing, number 26, and that card is Monty Irvin. Sam Jethro, number 27 there, was Rookie of the Year for the Boston Braves back in the late 40s. I've forgotten now which year that was. Ted Kluszewski, always showing off his upper arms and his upper arm strength. Probably the best pitcher on the Red Sox during this time, next to him, Mel Parnell, one of the key figures in the Red Sox teams of 1948 and 49, which finished a grand total of one game out of first place in the American League race, only to lose in 1948 to the Cleveland Indians and in 1949 to the New York Yankees. Moving on to the next page, there in the top right-hand corner, card number 36 is missing, and that card belongs to Gil Hodges. Of course, Warren Spahn, the Hall of Fame pitcher for the Boston Braves, there in the top left-hand corner. Two cards along that same row is Hank Sauer. Hank Sauer was a most valuable player in the National League in the early 50s. Right below Warren Spahn, of course, is Duke Snider, who is a Hall of Fame center fielder for the Brooklyn Dodgers. On the next page, primarily what you would consider to be common cards, good players, but not necessarily Hall of Fame players. There's a couple of players, a couple of cards missing on that page. They were common cards as well. On the next page, Johnny Sain, who was one of the terrific pitchers for the Boston Braves during their pennant-winning year of 1948. And then on the other side of that column, Don Mueller for the New York Giants, an outfielder for the New York Giants. And Don was one of the key players in the 1958 National League pennant playoffs against the Brooklyn Dodgers. He was actually on base when Bobby Thompson hit his shot heard around the world. Moving on to the next page, let's see, I might have skipped, that's right. The first card in the upper left-hand corner is the great Yankee pitcher Ed Lopat, not a Hall of Famer, but certainly one of the staff aces, along with Whitey Ford and Allie Reynolds. Whitey Ford didn't play in 1950, part of 1952, because of military service. Hall of Fame pitcher Robin Roberts with the Philadelphia Phillies He's certainly the ace of the Phillies and the Whiz Kids team of 1950. Chuck Stobbs, I'm sure everybody knows, is the pitcher who gave up the Mickey Mantle's longest home run. There was a card commemorating that home run in a later Topps set. I think 1959, I believe. I could be off a year on that. He was with the Senators by that time. Next we have Enos Slaughter, a Hall of Fame outfielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. And also one of the great pitchers for the Brooklyn Dodgers teams, Preacher Rowe, next to Country Slaughter. And next to Rowe is the great Yankee pitcher Allie Reynolds. Allie Reynolds in 1951 pitched 2 no-hitters in that season, one of very few pitchers to have done that. Next page is the first card on that page is Vernon Law for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he was their ace for many years. This is the first card outside of the subset of cards numbered 1 through 80, and begins the long run of relatively the easiest cards to get. Also, someone who is well known and later became a manager in major leagues, Eddie Stanky, nicknamed the Brat. Eddie Stanky was with the Brooklyn Dodgers when Jackie Robinson made his debut. He was not one of Robinson's greatest supporters, but he did say that since Jackie was on his team, he was his teammate, and he would play with him as a teammate just the same as any other teammate. So kind of lukewarm support, but there was a lot of that. That was certainly better than he endured, or Jackie endured, from many other players, both some on the Dodgers. Quite a few of them got traded, Dixie Walker being one of them. Vern Stevens was the third baseman for the Boston Red Sox, and instrumental in their team of in their battles against the Yankees. Let's see, we've got only a couple cards on this page. Dale Mitchell, you'll remember, I'm sure, and during Don Larson's perfect game, Game 5 of the 1956 World Series, Dale Mitchell was the last batter and struck out on a questionable call third strike. But that was the end of the game, and the Yankees won that game 2-0. Mickey Mantle hit a home run in that game and made a perfect game-saving catch. On the next page, we don't have any of those cards yet, so there's more to come later on. Two common cards on the next page. And we come to a page that's got a little better than half of the cards on it. There's Mickey Vernon, who we mentioned in connection with Al Rosen's Triple Crown run, or his effort to get the Triple Crown, which he came up a little short, and some other relatively common cards. On the next page, again, mainly common cards on this page, at least of the ones that I have. One picture of some note, Mickey McDermott was kind of a character with the Red Sox, and probably could have been a better pitcher if he'd focused a little more on pitching and a little less on goofing around. So I'm told anyway. On the next page, we don't have any of those cards, so we just move on there. And then we come to, basically some common cards that we have so far on this next page. Only two cards on the next one, but one of them is Cincinnati shortstop Roy McMillan. And during my vintage card collecting career, I always seemed to find Roy McMillan's card pretty quickly, whatever year it was that I was working on. So he's kind of a stalwart for me in terms of collecting vintage cards. In the upper right-hand corner is Johnny Klipstein with the Cubs. He later became a fairly well-known relief pitcher for the Phillies later in the late 50s and early 60s. Johnny Klipstein. Eddie Waitkus on the next page is the baseball player who got shot and was featured in the movie The Natural, the story, not by his name, but by the events that occurred during his playing career. And relatively common players next. Roy Smalley was another player that always seemed to get his card early on in the stretch. Roy Smalley's son was also a major league player, Roy Smalley Jr. Billy Hitchcock went on to be a manager in the major leagues. And again, some relatively common cards. Joe Collins was a player for the New York Yankees and early in his career. Fairly well known, considered to be a good player. Left-handed pitcher for the Phillies, Curt Simmons. He was involved in a lawn mowing accident where he cut his foot up pretty badly, but Curt Simmons. Again, relatively common players. Ned Garver was a very good pitcher for the St. Louis Browns, kind of toiled in obscurity. I think he was a 20-game winner once. Bobby Shantz was a American League most valuable player early in his career. Billy Cox, third baseman for the Brooklyn Dodgers, considered to have very good hands defensively as a third baseman. Bob Friend was a very steady pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates and throughout the 50s and mid-60s. Rocky Bridges was also with the Pirates later on. You can see Jack Phillips, Ed Fitzgerald were all on the Pirates. Walt Dropo was a Rookie of the Year for the Boston Red Sox. 1951, I think. I'm thinking. Tommy Byrne was a pitcher later with the Yankees and part of that terrific pitching staff. Vic Wertz, you may recall, hit the ball in Game 1 of the 1954 World Series that Willie Mays managed to catch way, way out in center field at the Polo Grounds, simply known as The Catch. George Kell is a Hall of Fame third baseman for the Detroit Tigers. And then on the next page, got a couple of common cards there. Same with Willard Nixon on the next page. And down in the right-hand corner, all by himself, Cloyd Boyer, the brother of the more famous Ken Boyer and Clete Boyer. Again, all relatively common players here. And that brings us to the end. George Metkovich is card number 310. And from here on out, we're into the high numbers, and I don't have any of the high numbers. One other card that I do have that I'm gonna bring back here in just a minute. This next card is definitely not a common, so I'm gonna put a little stand up right here, and we will so there we are. It's obviously Willie Mays, and Willie was not a rookie in 1952. His rookie year was 1951, but Topps didn't make flagship sets in 1951. So this is the first Topps Willie Mays card. As you can see, it is graded a PSA 1. It's not bad looking for a 1, though. The back of the card looks really pretty well centered and in pretty good condition. Sorry about the reflection there, but you can see that card pretty well, I think. So that's my effort to date with respect to the 1952 Topps set. It's the only set I haven't completed among the Bowman and Topps cards. About a little over half of the cards numbered 1 through 310, and none of the cards numbered 311 through 407. So I got a lot of work to do there. Hopefully, we'll maybe get there, maybe not. But anyway, if anybody's ever watching this video after I'm gone, you can know I gave it my best effort. So in the meantime, this is Rocket Rick J18, wishing that all your collecting dreams come true, even if mine don't.